Hello, guys. Good day. This is Anne of Reinforcement Club, your fellow positive reinforcer. Good day today. It's already around 7:35 in the evening here in Ireland, and still the sun is up. We are in the springtime and going to the summer. The sun will shine maybe up to 10 o'clock in the evening. That's just how it goes. But during winter times, the sun the sun is up. We'll never know if it's gonna be up, and it's gonna go down, like could be nighttime as early as maybe nearly 4 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But at the moment, the sun is still up, daylight outside. Now, I'm actually bringing this up to you because I want to talk about the impact of weather in our mental health. Does it really affect us? Does it? Well, for me personally, it does, because I don't like the cold weather. But I still have to go on. I have to do the things that I have to do. And that's life. I have to get on with it. It's just that I could hardly, if only I could stay on bed all day, I'd do that. It's just that, I got responsibilities. Now, just to let you know, weather does affect us. As you can see, people this in this wonderful weather today, they're actually outside. Some of them having a good time sunbathing. They enjoy their socialization together, and as well as the hot weather here in Ireland uh, isn't that hot as in the Philippines. Isn't that warm compared to the one that we have in the Philippines. In Ireland, at this time, this could be 7 to 8 degrees. It's still quite chilly outside, but the sun is still up. You'll never know that you already have some sort of sunburn when the temperature goes up. Now, basically, since it's a sunny day today, even up to this evening, sunshine or sunlight does increase the production of serotonin, which is the hormone involved in the regulation of mood, and also sunlight increases the production of our vitamin D, which makes our bones stronger and has something to do with our mood regulation too, in terms of activities. We can do outdoor sports, walk on the trail, whatever we want to do. It's a nice weather outside, and people tend to be happy with the sunshine. According to the Journal of Affective Disorder, people tend to report better moods on sunny days than cloudy or rainy. And, sunlight also influences our circadian rhythm. The part of the brain that controls our sleep and wakefulness. In other words, when the sun is up, we are on time. We can, it tends to be warm and it wakes us up. It's already daylight. It's time to get up and do the work, do our household chores, work out, do whatever we want. And then when the sun is down, then our energy also goes down, and then that is in preparation for our sleep and wakefulness. So, in other words, sunshine has something to do, is quite connected to our mood regulation. Another thing is we have this so-called seasonal affective disorder, which is, in other terms, SAD, seasonal affective disorder. So this is described as depression on fall and winter months, less daylight, lack of sunlight during winter and fall cause disruption in serotonin and melatonin production, affecting our sleep and mood. So less daylight, less sunshine, and we don't really know if it's really morning or are we gonna have lunch. It's a gloomy day, which is majority of the time in a year happens in Ireland. It's just that when during springtime, summertime, it's actually you can get the daylight. Unlike in fall and winter times, it's always been gloomy. Sometimes I could say that in the middle of the 12 noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I could even wonder if it's already 7 o'clock in the evening, because that actually looks like 7 o'clock in the evening in the Philippines in winter here in Ireland. And according to the study in psychiatry research, phototherapy has shown to be effective in the treatment of sadness, seasonal affective disorder. People living in northern latitudes with limited daylight in winter are likely to experience sadness during winter because of lack of daylight, sunshine, which affects our circadian rhythm. And we don't know if it's really morning or afternoon. It's always been gloomy in the winter, which, to some people, even myself, I find it lazy, to go outside, to work out, even to work. I know that work, some people are quite allergic to work, but, there's nothing we can do about it. We are actually made, our body is, has to do some work to make our, to make our life worth living for. Work can sometimes lead us to our purpose. Work can help us sustain our daily living, feed our family. So we have to go to work whether we like it or not, rain or shine. Winter, summer, fall, we have to go to work. And regardless of our mood, the weather does affect, it could be our mood of the day. Yes. Another thing is that in rainy days and forecast, those gloomy days that we have here in Ireland, this seasons are associated with feelings of sadness and low energy. Yes, it does, because when I'm at work and I look at the clouds, I look at the outside environment, I could say that in rainy season, forecast, gloomy days, I feel like I don't really like to go outside. Unlike these times when the sun is up, in the middle of the break, I actually, me and my friend go outside, my colleagues. We have a little chat outside in our break time and enjoy our free tan under the sun for maybe 15 to 20 minutes before we go back to work. Work is, and apply our art of war at work. I'm just kidding. Now, a study from the Journal of Environmental Psychology found that people tend to feel more negative and sluggish on rainy days. Like, when you see the rain, and then other than you're already heartbroken or broke, and it makes your emotional, your current emotional feeling, which is down, much worse when you see the rainy days and cold weather and you're brokenhearted, plus you're almost nothing in your bank account, and you just end up, this is such a sad day. And other than that, people tend to have low energy on rainy days and gloomy days forecasts because these times, other than lack of sunlight, there are less people outdoor, because of the weather, bad weather. We can't play sports outside. We can't socialize outside. So we stay indoor. And that lead us to inactivity. Less activity indoor, unless to some people who do enjoy indoor activities, then good for them. Otherwise, to those people who wants to go outside, explore outside, then what you can do? When the weather is bad, you have to stay at home for your own safety and to keep yourself dry at the same time. And another thing, in the middle of the heat and high humidity, which is usual, normal, and common in the Philippines, we are in the middle of equator. This type of weather is linked with irritability, fatigue, and aggression. Yeah. As you can see in the social media, people are bashing at each other in the Philippines, and we're quite vocal with our feelings. Now, according to the Journal of Applied Psychology study, high temperature matched with high humidity increase the feeling of discomfort, leading to mood disturbance. Other than the stress that we have in the Philippines, everything has increased. The prices of commodity, especially politics, and the hot weather. It's not, I wouldn't say warm, but hot. Philippines is hot, but it's a beautiful country. I'm telling you, beautiful place to live, work, and enjoy your life in Philippines. Now, when the temperature rises, people are more likely to be aggressive when stressed in social setting, which is indeed true. Now, I couldn't say it more. I couldn't even describe it to you because I'm not sure if you ever understand. But if you ever live in the Philippines, look, no need to explain. But the good thing about it is that we are accommodating to and hospitable to foreigners. It's just that the our attitude, the character will just eventually come out when we get to know each other in years and years with the foreigners. But if you become a local in the Philippines, you decided to live there for years, then you get to know the people more. We're actually warm, but irritable and aggressive in some sort. And we also have a rising crime rate in all sorts of area. And I wouldn't hide that. But Philippines is still a lovely place to be. And another thing that's gonna get affected by heat and humidity is the sleep quality in the Philippines. I'm not only talking about the Philippines, but other countries too. Speaking about pertaining, to our topic of heat and humidity, high humidity season or temperature or weather, and as we do our activities of daily living. Now, I could tell you that it's actually good to nap, but in the Philippines, when you're living in the city, it's actually quite hot when you take a nap in the afternoon, like 1 or 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. It's always been hot. So you have to prepare to, make sure that your air conditioning is working. And even your, just a simple fan will do. I could talk a lot about my own country, but this doesn't only talk about my own country. I'm talking about also, in general, heat and high humidity places, and Philippines is just one example of that. So when it's hot, it's actually hard to sleep. And when our sleep is compromised, that can also lead to irritability, leading to mood disturbance. Think about it. If you don't have enough sleep, to recharge your body from work and stress the day, from yesterday, how are you going to react to that? And another thing, the cold weather. Not only in winter. Most of the days in a year in Ireland is actually quite cold. Not to the point of negative or 0 degree. I'm talking about five, other than winter days, starting April. It could be 5 degree and above. Sometimes it's 5 degrees, quite cold already. So in cold weather, people tend to have mixed mood. And again, Ireland is just one of the best example of, having cold weather in a year. We have winter, spring, summer, and fall. So to some people, coldness means cozy. And when it's cozy, people tend to be productive. And to some people, in winter days, they seem to be down and isolated because of the weather. It's cold outside, snow, a little bit of snow, not too bad. Now, a study published in PLOS ONE, it says here that people in colder regions, especially when, in winter weather, lead to isolation and negative mood experiences because of lack of outdoor activities, social interactions, plus, the impression that it's cold outside. And that leads to feeling of loneliness and sadness. Remember the SAD? The seasonal affective disorder, or even depression though. So beware. Now, some people, not myself, I could say that some people tend to be really energetic in cold weather. I'm talking about some locals and some of my fellow Filipinos here in Ireland. They love the cold. Some people feel energized in cold cold weather. For example, they do even the so-called winter sports. And to some people, although they're not doing winter sports, they find comfort in indoor activities. Whatever happens, they still live the best time of their lives, regardless of the weather, especially the cold weather. Now, lastly, there are also times in a year or seasons wherein it's windy. Now, a study published in Weather, Climate and Society, it says here that high winds were associated with increased stress and lower positive affect. If you're stressed out, you don't want to smile, or you could hardly smile. I've also experienced driving and winter season. That usually happens when there is a changes of season, like from fall to winter, and then there'll be rain and wind. I'm talking about strong winds, and you're driving, so you got to be extra careful. And I'm not saying that I could hardly smile, but sometimes I do hardly smile. I got to be extra careful, and then I'm not really happy about the wind, to be honest, in my own opinion. I don't like the wind. I don't mind the rain, because the wind destroyed my umbrellas, and I couldn't protect myself from getting wet because of the wind. But there's nothing I can do about it but to accept the reality that is life. And people feel more irritable and anxious because of the noise and disruption in windy days, during the changes of weather that happens. Other than, I have no idea about other regions in the world, but it happens, here in Ireland during changes of weather. Or when it's rainy and it's actually, there's some kind, there's just days in the years that, wind just attacked us. Now, all in all, weather can affect the way we feel. So next time when you feel a little bit different, depending on the weather, remember that it's something people, you and me, experience. So I hope I've shared something valuable today. It's still, a daylight outside, and the sun is about to go, to go down. It's sunset, but it's still, I can still see the birds outside and the sunshine still working. So I hope you have a lovely day, because, regardless of the weather, to be honest, life must go on. We got to face whatever we have, whatever it takes, whether we're broke or we're doing great. Life itself has its own season. And we got to be stronger than the weather. Although the weather do plays in our brain and our mood at times, but since we're quite aware about it, or to some extent, we forget about it. We're not aware. Let's just say we're not aware. But whatever it takes, live life to the fullest. Live in your own terms. Do whatever you want, regardless of the weather. Make your dreams come true. So, thank you very much for your time. If you ever love this episode, you can follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, even in X, or the Twitter before, Reinforcement Club. I do appreciate your time, and have a lovely day ahead. Thank you very much. And by the way,